Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Fargo Talks. I'm here with Peter Ward from Four Seasons Private Residences. And Peter, no one gives a fuck about really real estate, but they give a fuck about you. And the reason why they give a fuck about you is you're a male model. You're an endurance runner. You're also bringing to town one of the, if not the most premier, condominium developments for ultra high net worth people in town. I really stay away from doing real estate stuff now here unless you're super cool or you got something super cool to tell. You're both because it's just your background. And thank you for having me come out to the site. Out in Henderson. I loved it. I loved it. And you're a super cool guy. So this won't be the first time we'll be talking here. You're an endurance runner. What is that, like 30 miles, 40 miles? What are these? Are you doing races?
Yeah, so I guess endurance or ultramarathoning is anything longer than a marathon. So you've got 50Ks, 100Ks, 100 miles. Now you have 200-mile races, and now things are getting even more extreme with 250-mile races, like the Cocodona 250 is one I completed a couple of years ago out in Arizona.
You ran 250 miles.
250 miles.
Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. My feet hurt just when you said that. And I have a pronated arch, so it's like, Jesus Christ, Jeffrey. How long are you running for until you rest?
So this isn't a stage race. There are stage races out there. I have found that I like, a race. I want to start and see who can be the first one to the finish line. So in these races, of course, you're not running the whole entire time, but ultimately every step you take is progress. And, progress ultimately leads you to happiness. So kind of I correlate it in really trying to enjoy the moment and really enjoying the passage of time. And what happens when you're out there is you learn so many lessons, more lessons than you could learn from any single book, because you're overcoming so many challenges. People, if you've heard people talk about 100-mile races, it's like living a year of emotions in one day. You make that 250 miles, you're living a decade of emotions in a week. And what you can learn from pushing yourself through those boundaries, no book could ever teach you anything.
What's the longest you'd run at one time before you had to stop and take a break or stop and rest?
I don't know the exact answer to that. I've pretty much completed a 100-mile race without stopping, other than refilling my water bottles with the electrolyte fluid. These long endurance races, it's more of an eating competition and, staying alive, for the better part of it. And just, how can you keep yourself and overcoming all of the nuances, whether it's chafing, your pole breaks, you have stomach issues. So a lot of it is just keeping the calories down. So if your stomach can continually eat all of the calories, you can physically keep going at speed. But as soon as you get off that equilibrium of whether your sodium is off, your electrolytes are off, your calories go down, that's when you bonk, crash, have cramps, and start to really have a lot of other issues. For instance, a big race that I did called the Tour de Giants, which is a 330-kilometer race, roughly a little bit over 200 miles, in the Italian Alps with about 90,000 feet of elevation. They had 5 life bases along the way. So what this means is that about every 50, 60K, you'd have, you'd come off the high mountain back into the town, and you'd be in like the gymnasium. You can replenish, eat food, and then rest for up to 2 hours at a time. So every race is a little bit different, but there definitely is a lot of walking, and that's my little secret about trail running is like once you're off in the trails, no one is out there looking at you. You can kind of take it at your own pace, but you just gotta, continue to move forward, taking every step, just one more, and kind of going through those boundaries that whether other people have set for yourself or you have set for yourself. And I think it's Tony Robbins is on the other side of, pain is greatness, or David Goggins on the other side of suffering is true success. So when you get to the point where you can't go any farther and yet you continue to go farther, it unlocks a special power within you that you can correlate and use in the rest of your life. And whether it's, bringing that along to real estate, or, just getting up in the morning, making your bed and, taking care of your responsibilities. Once you've gone the distance, it makes making your bed and all these other things a little bit easier.
What fuels you to do a 100, 250 mile race? Like psychologically, what fuels you to motivate you to take that next step, or to even begin, but then to take that next step once you're involved and you're knee deep in it?
So I think competition, I've always been competitive. I have two older brothers that were, we're very similar in age, almost Irish twins here. So I've always been very competitive. But ultimately, I think
do they, by the way, do they do ultramarathons?
No.
What are their names?
Patrick and Christopher.
Fuck you, Patrick and Christopher. All right. Peter's the shit, and you better be getting him like new shoes and orthotics every Christmas. Continue.
Appreciate that.
Of course.
But I think nothing's rocket science, just like running isn't rocket science. It's very easy, but it's easy to make progress. And what I've learned over, reading some of my favorite books like Beyond Positive Thinking is progress equals happiness. And so does productivity, equals happiness. And what a beautiful way to, be happy, because every step that I take is progress towards this goal. And, when I was probably 10 years ago listening to Les Brown, aim high, miss high. So I've always set these really, really high goals for myself. And a lot of times I fail, and I fail miserably. But for me personally, the only time I've ever learned anything is when I failed completely. So I think setting a high goal and then failing sets this crazy inner drive in me that I cannot compete with. I mean, it ultimately has, if I fail at something, I make it my number one priority in life to strap the boots back on and get out there and prove not only to myself, to the world that I can do it. And I think ultra running is a beautiful sport where I can fail and the consequences aren't that major, but yet I can still learn all the lessons that you have to go through, because I've been fortunate in life. I haven't necessarily had, to suffer greatly. So this is a unique way for me to suffer, to see what's on the other side, which, as David Goggins says, on the other side of suffering is greatness. And I could harp into this longer and longer, but every ultra marathon I run, I picture it as I'm like the author of a book. So every mile is a chapter, or every mile is a page. So you're continuously working towards something. You're being productive, and you're enjoying that passage of time along the way. And as you go through, just like an author, every page, every chapter is a success. You're working towards that last page. But then you get to the very end. Okay, you finished the book, you've had that sense of accomplishment, but in the same thing as doing an ultra marathon or even climbing a mountain, every step up the mountain is a page in that book.
Yeah.
Once you get to the top, you feel accomplished, you did it, but then you're right back at stage one. You got to go down the mountain and on to the next. So I think what drives me to do these ultimate endurance events, I guess you can call them, is just to see what I'm capable of. I think we're so lost in our natural ability of what we can do. We've been, we don't even go outside anymore. And yet, what the human body was actually made to do is truly incredible. And I'm always trying to find that boundary and then expand on how can I do it better, go farther, so on and so forth.
How did... And again, how long have you been doing this for?
Probably, not that long, about eight or so years now.
Okay. And let's transcend over now into your career. And how long have you been in? Because you're in a very specific, targeted niche, in terms of the real estate sector you're in. How'd you get into that?
Well, it didn't happen overnight, just like everything, just like these ultramarathons. It's a lot of steps that you need to take to get there. I started real estate in New York City in rentals, running around the city like a crazy person, gathering keys, running up and down the stairs and showing rental after rental after rental. And I just focused on what was bringing clients to my rentals, and that was marketing. So I focused heavily on the photos, got a nice camera, got the angles, and that got me noticed by some other brokerages in New York City. I eventually ended up moving towards sales, got into sales, really just worked hard, hung on the coattails. I asked if I could do anything to help anyone, as we all are, new in some positions. And, I had willingness to fail as well. I mean, my first rental showings, hilarious. My first sales showing, hilarious. My first cold calls, absolutely hilarious. Like, I look back in how bad I was at all things across the spectrum to where I am now. But I think, there's people see this end result of selling, the shiny trophy of the Four Seasons private residence. But, there's a lot of struggle involved in when you're hustling and in the streets of New York, trying to do rentals every day, not knowing, if you're going to be able to make rent each month. I remember not so long ago, I was catering alongside when I started real estate in New York. Nothing's easy, but there's no beauty in anything if you just start and next thing you know, you're at the top. So there was a lot of lessons learned in between, and ultimately through hard work and, just smart work and using the skills that I had and, hanging on to coattails of the best and asking for advice, that ultimately got me into the high net worth sales with Anguilla and Volkers, which then led me to Four Seasons private residences out in Anguilla.
And before, I was going to say then, so you were in Anguilla for how long?
About a little over 3 years.
Okay. And for those that don't know, where is Anguilla?
Anguilla, great question. If you're from the East Coast or specifically New York, you've probably heard about Anguilla. It's a small 16-mile long island, population about 12,000 to 15,000 people, about 5 miles north of St. Martin. No marina, very hard to get to. Usually have to fly through St. Martin, and there's recently a direct flight out of Miami to get there, but a very exclusive, not very well known. I call it, the private island of the Caribbean, because it has everything that you want if you wanted a private island. But if you have a private island, you're going to be bored after a couple of days because there's nothing to do. So this feels like a private island because there's so little people, so many beaches, and a great restaurant scene where it really allows you to kind of enjoy all of the aspects of having that private island life, but also having some things to do.
And how many units? Sale price, like give me the rundown on everything there.
So Four Seasons was about 170 units, all a little bit different. We had studios all the way to $10 million villas on the water out there. These villas are spectacular. You're on your own, practically private beach. They would rent for up, during this season right now, which in the hotel business is called festive season. The hotel rooms or the villas would rent out for $25,000 a night, 10-night minimums.
And they have no problem renting those out?
They are reserved up to 2 years in advance.
Wow. And so and that's fully done, sold out, or is that still like being... Are those still for sale, or is it all sold out?
I've sold all the residences at the Four Seasons in Anguilla. There are some resales, but currently no villas.
All the first generation sales are done.
Correct.
Right? And so then Four Seasons said, hey, Peter, guess what? We have an opportunity for you to come back to the States. And we got this thing we're doing in Vegas. I mean, is that what they said? Was that the pitch?
Not necessarily. So after we sold out the Four Seasons in Anguilla, I actually shipped down to the Guanacaste region of Costa Rica and did the launch of a Waldorf Astoria down there. Beautiful kind of boutique style Waldorf Astoria with we had a 19 room, I don't want to call it a hotel, but a 19-room boutique hotel building that was private residences. We sold that out, and then Four Seasons approached me for this project. I'm from the East Coast, so my views of Vegas were coming for the conference. I used to come for a jewelry conference called JCK. Some might be familiar with it, but you'd come in for the conference. You go to the conference, go to the buffet or steakhouse, you go to sleep. You didn't understand what Vegas has to offer. So when I first heard of this project, I didn't really know what to expect. I ended up flying down here, and they showed me the location. And now that I'm a mountain guy, I'm sure you now understand why I quickly saw this location and then got to understand a little bit more about the Vegas market. And I think it was a no-brainer after that.
And talk to me about the project itself and just like the sexiest bullet points of the project. Because I was out there with you, and it's amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. And you haven't broken ground yet, but to go out and take a ride out, and you've got drone footage. Send me all that stuff, by the way, because all of my guys weave it in to the shorts. But like, walk me through the project, price point, where people are buying from, where you're sold at for right now, percent, whatever you can talk about, is great information.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this product kind of came out of a need. There's no high-end luxury high-rise off the strip. People now are...
What about Queensridge?
Queensridge is great, but it's a little old. It's about 20 plus years old.
That's old.
I think we need a new kid on the block.
And no offense to people at Queensridge, but in Vegas years, 20 years is an eternity. In 20 years, most buildings get blown up here.
That's true.
Right? I mean, they're leveled and something else is put up with fiber optics and everything else. So go ahead.
So this ultimately came out of a need that wasn't there. You have a lot of people who have built these monuments to themselves, these 10,000 square foot homes, and now just realize that the upkeep and just the nuances of owning a large house that you're potentially not there that often. We're catering towards the global citizens of the world. I call them money rich and time poor. So this product is a luxury product where all of your needs are taken care of. So very sought after for that lock and leave. You want to travel and go to your house in Jackson Hole for 3 weeks. Everything is safe and secure within your private residences. Also, this is a fully managed building. So this is like living in a Four Seasons hotel minus all of the hotel guests. So I don't know about you, but it's similar to first class. Once you fly first class, it's hard to go back. Once you live in a full service building, with the quality of accommodations of the Four Seasons plus the Four Seasons staff on top of that, it just doesn't exist that many places in the world. So we've curated this amazing experience to help give our owners all the time back in their life so they can go out and do the things that they enjoy and also share this amazing property with families. That being said, the price of entry is quite high. We're not specifically for everyone. We're not necessarily for someone who wants to be down on the strip. We're catering towards that. Wellness is the new luxury in 2023. People want to enjoy everything on the strip, but they also want to have that sense of community or sense of home away from all the chaos that the strip can offer you. And with the way Vegas has been planned out strategically in the 215 Beltway, kind of zipping you around, we're able to have this kind of gateway to serenity up on the mountainside here in Henderson, with only being 20 minutes away from some of the best restaurants in the world and all of the entertainment. Our pricing does reflect that. So our lowest price of entry right now is going to be a 2-bedroom at $3.5 million. All of the residences come with massive balconies, 650 square feet for the smallest balcony. Every balcony comes with a gas grill on it. And then you can go all the way up to one of our sky villas or our penthouse, which right now is listed at $29 million, 8,500 square feet with a 3,500 square foot balcony terrace with its own private swimming pool. So there's really kind of a spot for everyone who's looking for this type of unique lock and leave branded product.
How much are you pre-sold right now?
So we're over 30% pre-sold. We're not doing reservations. We're going right into contracts.
That's great.
And it continues to, the product continues to move faster and faster. We haven't done any marketing really. You might have seen some things on some agents posting some stuff on Instagram, but we've really just been word of mouth within the local community. And then on top of that, we've been in the Four Seasons magazine. So as of now, as you see with a lot of these high-end projects, a lot of it does happen before the word gets out. And then soon here, we will be going vertical in about end of February. So we're very excited, and you'll see a lot more activity start to kind of flow in as people start to believe that this is a real thing. You know, right now we're still selling ultimately a dream, a very well planned out dream, of course. But, you know, I don't have a picture of a bathroom to show you right now, and we're still selling $10, $20 million residences weekly here.
What is the highest, what's the most expensive unit that so far has already been purchased?
2 of the 4 penthouses have already been purchased.
So there's only 4 penthouses and 2 of them are already gone.
Correct.
And what are the price for the penthouses?
So we're not really releasing that, but over 2,000 a square foot, well over 2,000 a square foot.
Okay. That my head explodes at that, but also it's like I'm a data guy, so I'm like, that's fucking awesome. That is so cool. And are these people from China? Are these people from LA? Where, like, predominantly, where are people coming from? You know,
I got to be a little bit careful, you know, being a real estate agent, but I'd say in general, you know, like you would probably imagine, some from California, but a lot of locals, believe it or not.
Really?
The people who have built these large homes to themselves, these monuments to themselves, now their kids just recently have gone to college, and they don't use the space, and they want to now take their freedom and go travel the world, and they don't want to worry about their ring alarms, the fire alarm, the landscaping crews.
All the shit.
All the shit that you have to deal with.
The pool guys. Everything.
You know,
right?
your sprinklers going, and next thing you know, your water bill is $2,000 plus a month because a leaky sprinkler. Just all of these little nuances. We kind of take all of those headaches away.
Something that I'm thinking about as we're talking, because I'm going through my head, because again, like, we don't do any scripting. This is all just, we just shoot the shit, man. How are you going to find, or how does Four Seasons find good staff? Because, like, I used to be in the restaurant business years ago, and the hardest thing was getting good help. And I hear it now from anybody who's an entrepreneur that has a staff. I have such a hard time keeping people. And a lot of times it's culture, it's compensation, all that. What do you feel that Four Seasons is going to bring to the table? So, like, who's a good fit for somebody to work for the Four Seasons brand at the private residences? And what does Four Seasons do, above and beyond that any other, company does, that you feel that, because you've been with them now for a while?
Yes, but I actually technically work for the developers, not the brand itself. Right. But I've been involved with lots of the employees, and what I found out, they treat their employees very well, and they give them multiple pathways to succeed. If you look at if you talk to someone who works at the Four Seasons, it's very rare that they have only been there for a year or a couple of years, especially when you get up into the higher level. If you talk to a GM, and you'd be like, how long have you been with the brand? They may only look 35, but they've been with the brand for 20 years, or, so they give you pathways to success. There's opportunities to move around the country to different hotels, which, to me, was very attractive. Hey, you've done a couple of years here. Why don't you go to Istanbul and, try, being the director of rooms there, and then you work your way up to that flagship property. And another thing that they do is they give their employees a certain amount of hotel room stays at any Four Seasons around the world every year. So I believe it starts at 4, and then it goes upwards, as your tenure grows. But, if you're a Four Seasons employee, from my understanding is that you get a 4-night stay at any Four Seasons hotel around the world for free.
That's great PTO, man.
As long as you can get there. And
that's great PTO. That's awesome PTO.
They treat their employees well. Yeah. And the brand itself is such an authority figure in the space. It's kind of like working with Google. Like, if you get a job with Google, it's tough to go up from there. You want to stay with the brand and grow within the brand. Yeah. And I think because they are the authority figure in the space, but they allow you many pathways to grow, whether it's in that position you're in or kind of try other positions to see where you shine, and then give you the opportunity through traveling to other properties and then promotions. And, you rarely see anyone leave their Four Seasons position because I think they give you that pathway to success and help mold your career.
I agree.
As the portfolio is always growing.
Did you ever see Simon Sinek's quote, his story about Four Seasons in Vegas?
I don't think so. I need to.
I'll find and send it to you. I'll butcher it, but it's so good. He was here, and this is years ago, but he was here for something, and he's at the Four Seasons Hotel, which is connected to Mandalay Bay on South Las Vegas Boulevard, and he goes to get a coffee at like the kiosk thing.
I think I have heard this.
And he's talking to the guy or girl, and like, how do you like your job? I love it. He's like, what? Like, you love it? He goes, I love it here. Why? And he said, they listen to me. They care. And at any level in this organization, people come over and ask me my opinion about how can we do things better? How are you? And he said, there's other properties I work at now that are here in Vegas. They don't care about me as much as they care about me at Four Seasons. And I never forgot that, ever. And it is the greatest organic endorsement of a brand, of a lodging residence brand I've ever heard in my life. It's like, do you do motorcycles ever?
I don't do motorcycles.
Okay, because then it's not, Ewan McGregor and like his best friend did a thing. It's called like A Road Less Traveled. It's the greatest commercial. It's like a 2-hour long documentary. They did a bunch of them, but the first one was like, one of the first ones was they went around the world from like England and on BMW motorcycles. Those fuckers didn't break. Like once they dumped one in like Nepal and the foot stand thing bent and like a belt went from wear. Beyond that, the things ran forever. That's the greatest endorsement ever. To have Simon Sinek say that and just recant that, not recant, to repeat that story about Four Seasons. And there are cavernous differences between Four Seasons lodging and Four Seasons private residences. I get it. But as someone that's on the outside, I'm going to look at it and go, all I know about Four Seasons is the one that's on the Strip and what I've seen on short form video of Simon Sinek talking about it. And if he says it's amazing, I'm drawn to that. And that was something that drew me to you when I started to see your stuff coming up online. I'm like, this is pretty fucking cool. And again, shame on all the real estate agents because all they did was literally take the RJ article and blast it out as the smallest, least thing they could do. Because most agents are lazy. Sorry, you're fucking lazy if that's all you did. I'm sorry. And that if people have, if agents, what is the perfect agent for you? Who should they have? Like, because you don't want them to waste your time and you don't want to waste their time either. So you don't want people that are just tire kickers to come out and take a look at stuff to get content for social media. No. What type of client should they have in order to schedule an appointment with you?
It's a great question. This is a different type of product. You know, no one needs a Four Seasons private residences. No one needs to slap their favorite brand on their home. So it's a different type of client that's purchasing here. You know, you're not selling a $400,000, $500,000 home that someone needs. You know, they need to move here for work. They need this. You're selling a lifestyle. You're selling them a curated lifestyle that has been meticulously crafted by the team at Four Seasons, all the way down from the construction to the layout of the gym to all of the features of every amenity. Everything has been meticulously thought after and curated. And then, you know, adding the Four Seasons in that mix, you know, people are buying into a lifestyle. So, you know, if you have a lot of clients on the Strip who want to be on the Strip, who want to, you know, be in the thick of things, you know, maybe this isn't the right, you know, product for you and your clients, but it's that agent who really understands his clients and his clients' needs and has one or two of those high net worth individuals that likes to travel, loves Las Vegas, doesn't necessarily want to live on the Strip, but appreciates everything that this town has to offer and more, while also, you know, maybe seeing some benefits on the investment side. So I think a broker who is less is less selling for a return or to make money. This is a broker who's really out there looking to give his clients an exceptional experience that will then they will go and tell all their friends and hopefully generate more business for that broker down the road. This isn't something that you can just post on Instagram and you'll have people lining up to come to your door. Like I said, our lowest price option is $3.5 million, and that's for a low floor 2-bedroom. I mean, you're talking, to our 3 bedrooms on a high floor, you're upwards around $5 million. So this really is a discerning individual, a very sophisticated individual who would be purchasing with us, and it takes a sophisticated agent to understand his client base and then present this in an exclusive way to help them understand the benefits of this amazing lifestyle that they can live here in Las Vegas while not having to worry about anything when they're not here. Everything's taken care of it for them, literally all the way down to their flat tire in their car, to your room service, to housekeeping. They know all of your needs, your birthdays, what you like, what you don't like. I think a quote I heard from a Four Seasons employee, similar to Simon, is every day they want to not only do something for each guest, but they want to make each guest feel special. So there's doing things, saying hello, but how can they do something in a very unique way to make that owner or their children feel special? That's something that the Four Seasons gives, and how to portray, this to your clients or to other brokers on that this isn't just about the real estate. If anything, it's not, the real estate is the top, it's the best of the best. It's Four Seasons. They've got quality of accommodations across the board that they need to uphold. This is about something more. This is about living a lifestyle filled with every one of your needs being taken care of to give you back that lifestyle you may have always wanted.
This is in my opinion, this is a product for an ultra high net worth individual. It's an ultra high net worth niche that it's their primary residence to take advantage of the, low taxes and everything else here in Nevada. They have multiple residences around the world. I think you guys need a helipad. I think you guys need to partner with Blade and get Blade the fuck out here and have a helipad on the roof or somewhere and get them to, whether it's going to be Harry Reid executive or Henderson executive, because I would think at least half those people fly private. At least half would fly private, and to get them from point A to point B, run that by marketing and see if you could put some extra extra heavy concrete on the roof or something to do a really cool helipad on top. But I just think that would just be sexy as shit anyways. I love that stuff.
Yeah, it's a great point, and some of our owners do definitely have helicopters and would want that, but in order to keep the entire community happy...
Oh, they'd kill you. McDonald Highlands would fucking throw a fit.
Our dog park out the back of the North Tower will also second as an emergency helicopter pad that can be used, but I will note that it takes me only 12 minutes to get to Harry Reid from the site. You hop on the 215 airport connector, boom, you're there, no lights. And we're about 15 minutes from Henderson Exec. So I think our location allows us to be close enough where we don't need that helicopter access. But of course, we are partnering with Blade and multiple things, and we're trying to get them out here.
I love
more
it.
to
and you and I are both fans of Blade.
Oh,
we're both
absolutely.
giant fans of Blade.
Yeah.
In closing, there's 2 amenities that you mentioned when we got together that I think are great that need to be just a couple seconds to hit on. One is, if I'm a resident and I have friends staying or coming to visit, you can provide lodging for them. That there's rooms set aside that they can stay at, and then also the restaurant you're going to have there is going to be amazing and available and open not just to the residences of the towers. If you want to touch on that for a couple seconds in closing.
Yeah, so the restaurant is, it's going to be spectacular. We're making an announcement here. I wish I had the news that I could drop it right here. We'll be making an announcement here in 2 weeks. We've got an amazing restaurateur coming in to do a fantastic concept that I think is going to be one of the best restaurants in all of Las Vegas. Which is
this is going to come out for like another month, but what we'll do is when the announcement comes out, we'll go ahead and throw that up. Like all of my guys put that on the screen. when it comes up.
So how the restaurant is going to be structured, it's not going to be part of the HOA. We want it to live on its own. So it's going to be available first for our residents of the Four Seasons private residences. Then it will also be open to the McDonald Highlands community. And then it will, in addition, be offered, if pending the space available, as a special destination restaurant for some of the high-end concierge desk around the valley.
I love it. I love that. And then briefly about if I have a place there and Aunt Fern comes,
yes.
and Aunt Fern comes and Aunt Fern smells like urinal cakes, and I just don't want, and I love Aunt Fern, but I don't want her staying at my fucking place. So where can Aunt Fern stay if I'm a resident at the tower?
You call her Aunt Fern. I call him Uncle Bob with the Rolly cooler and the Coors Light,
and the helmet with the two things that hold the cans.
and the straws coming down.
God bless. God bless.
So we, as Four Seasons does, they've thought about this in advance, and sometimes Vegas is a city where you have people, whether you like them or not, friends or half friends coming into town every week for whatever conference. Aunt Fern or Uncle Bob's coming in for the electronics conference here, coming in a couple weeks. You do not want them up in your beautiful junior penthouse. We've got 4 Four Seasons hotel rooms situated in the South Tower. They're about 500 square feet, and they're going to be Four Seasons hotel rooms, Four Seasons mattresses, the comforters that everyone loves, the pillows, the smells. And so just as an owner, for a nominal cleaning fee, you can put Aunt Fern or Uncle Bob, or even both together. You can put them down in the owner's suite down in the South Tower, just outside the amenities.
I think that's brilliant. I think that I love I love how your attention to detail, it's meticulous, and that's the level that you're at. And to me, it's refreshing to see that. So thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I want to have you come back after we've done groundbreaking and you've done some more announcements, like in 6 months or so, and to have you come back and do a much more in-depth talk and maybe bring in a luxury broker.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I have friends in Beverly Hills. We could fly one of them up here, or get someone from here in Vegas to talk also just about the product some more. I think would help just give it another dimension. And thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
I love thank you for your time. Thank you for letting me come out.
Yeah.
And carving some time out for me.
Excited to have you back soon. You're not going to recognize it.
That was a good time. Thank you.
Absolutely.